So picture this. All right.
All right, I'm picturing.
The year is 2023.
Sure is. Okay. That's where we're at right now.
People listen to a really bad Jason Aldean song to own the libs, okay? All right?
Okay.
Cicadas are coming out like a year early. Crazy, right?
Okay. Where are we heading?
Ohio, super hot, and then now it's kind of chill. All right?
I mean, we're here.
Some might say, and then we're on the verge of, like, I don't know, like probably like Great Depression too, right? Mm-hmm. Some might say we live in a Hellfest.
That's where you were taking this?
Yep.
You need to leave immediately.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3, technically, but also episode like almost 30 of the Popcorn podcast. My name is Coleman, and this is my friend Draven, and together we are two white men. And we have
not in a basement anymore.
Not in a basement anymore. Last podcast, technically, we were in my basement, and then we graduated to a new location.
Now we're in
your mom's
Leatherface's house. We're in the shed.
Gotcha, that too.
Okay,
but anyway, welcome to Popcorner, a pop culture podcast, which primarily is just movies, but the door is open for other things. Perhaps collaborations with a certain popcorn chip, just throwing that out there. But anyway,
they're gonna hit us up. We got 3 subs. They're hitting us up right now.
It's over.
And like they said, oh man, after you went from 2 to 3, let's seal the deal.
Yeah, let's get this done. All right. So we watched Hellfest, another horror movie. We watch a lot of horror movies for the most part.
That's my fault.
Yeah,
might be.
This guy's got like childhood trauma or something, so we just gotta let all that out. So yeah, Hellfest.
2018.
You've seen this. You've seen this before. I have
2018.
not.
I watched it.
Pretty short movie, just under an hour and a half. So that's pretty cool. What did you think when you saw the movie the first time, and what were your expectations going into it?
All right.
Well, I guess we'll start there.
It's cool. Let me just hit you with this factual information. I watched it back in 2018 when it launched, released, whatever you want to call it. It's a video game now, so when it launched. My initial thoughts on the movie was I liked it a lot when I finished it. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, that's 5 years, boys. 5 years later.
Crazy to think 2017 was just last year.
Bro, 2017 was 6 years ago. No.
That's crazy.
It's been so long since I've watched this movie, so revisiting this, I knew absolutely nothing. I actually didn't remember a single lies. I remembered the twist and the roller coaster ride thing.
But there were multiple.
Yeah. That part I remember. Other than that, all the deaths, all that stuff, I don't remember a single lick of it. So this was basically like watching a new movie for me again. And for me, I was like, well, my past self liked this movie a lot. Let's see if it holds up.
Right.
What about you?
Well,
gamer.
Okay, my only prior experience with this movie was hearing the name from you. But I remember, was this like Halloween or like October time for 2018?
I'm not sure.
In which case I would have been in college, and I believe I had a friend in college who really wanted to go.
He believed he had a friend in college.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he was real. I think he was.
He took his meds and he never saw him again.
I never saw him open a door or do anything like that. He never moved anything. No. I had a friend. He was black, and
okay,
it was necessary for the
story. Was it?
It was because he. Yes. Anyway, group of friends. And he's like, oh, we gotta go see this movie. And I just remember being like, yeah, no, I'm all right. That doesn't sound... Because he kind of sold it like it was gonna be like a... Like, not circus, but like a theme park Saw type situation. And I was like, that doesn't sound appealing to me. Because at that point in time, we hadn't watched Saw yet. And he did subject everyone in the friend group to Saw. And I was like, all right, this is better than I thought. Still terrifying. Hated it. Don't like gore. But going into this movie, I guess I should just do basic opinions now because I don't really have anything otherwise.
For it.
I think this movie's premise is pretty cool. I like the idea of like the full-blown theme park thing. Kind of reminds you of the county fair vibe.
Just like ours that we have in July every year.
Quite frankly, yes. And
even like what they look like. They look just like this movie.
well, I didn't see. I'm not even gonna say that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it anyway. I didn't see as many, apple bottom jeans, booty shorts that were not fit for the person wearing them.
Yikes! You just roasted everyone that goes to
I
that
am
county
sorry.
fair.
I'm sorry. Anyway, with that being said, yeah, I liked this movie on premise, but I think fundamentally it was flawed a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of cringe, dude.
I do, but there's parts of this movie that I really liked, and there's parts that I don't.
Listen,
I don't want to spoil the whole review. I guess we're gonna get into it. So, but
before we get into it, though,
we're gonna fucking get into it. If you disagree with me right here, buddy.
Literally, let's go one by one. Oh, I fixed the tire today. I'm a man now. So, we need to start doing.
I say, Daddy, please come help me. That's what I would do.
We need to start doing a snap of approval every time a movie has a flashback. Because that's your like pet peeve in movies, and this one didn't have one.
This one did not have one.
So we should give it slap of approval, no flashbacks.
It passes the no flashback test. That's fair. I like that. I do.
Just because that's like anytime there's a flashback in any movie, every time we do a podcast, he's like,
"Hey, you want to know why
that goddamn flashback?"
You want to know why there wasn't a flashback in this movie?
What's that?
Because there wasn't really any plot.
Oh, he got him.
To call back on.
I mean. Yeah, it's just a simple story.
I know, and like on one hand I appreciate it, on the other hand I'm just like, man, that's crazy.
All right, well, before we get into it as well, we previously just watched Haunt, which actually relates to this movie a lot because it's kind of like horror themed. They're going through like
that's more haunted house oriented.
I know, but like the concept of going through these things that
100%.
are haunted, but Halloween themed. They go through like haunted, like not house, but they go through like little buildings that have it set up as a haunted house.
Yes,
they go through all that type of stuff, and then obviously it's different as far as killers and all that jazz, and the plot's different. But the concept of the Halloween vibe and like taking place there and a group of friends getting picked off like kind of one by one.
Yeah.
Relations there. We'll get more into the movie here, but which way are you swaying towards?
Like which movie?
Yeah,
I was gonna ask you that as you're setting that up. I'm 100% pro haunt.
Pro haunt.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just am.
Haunt, check that podcast. We did it.
Yeah, we did do it. It's actually like 37 minutes something like that. No. It's like 15 minutes. You got more time to listen to us. It's cool. Yeah, no, I definitely think I prefer Haunt overall. I think the movie just has more character, if that makes sense.
Well, there's definitely, as simplistic as the plot is in that movie too, I feel like there's a lot more going on with it as far as like characters and there's a setup there, and then there's a pretty good ending wrapped up there as far as like plots and arcs go. But this movie didn't really have any of that. Let's be real, the only plot we really had was
who's gonna live, who's gonna die.
Well, yes, but also like the little relationship that we had going on that got cut off halfway through.
Yeah. So
I
was gonna say it felt earlier than that, but honestly, with the way the movie was set up, it was probably about halfway through.
It's because you paused it like right around the time that his death was coming up, and it was like 40 minutes in, so like it took a little bit before we saw like any of the actual cast get axed.
R.I.P. Gavin.
Yeah, I don't really care about relationship stuff too much, but I shipped it. I was like, I'm down to clown.
Yeah.
Same with like Happy Death Day, like Carter and Tree.
Yes.
Like, there's not many relationships I ever care about. I'm like, whatever. But like those two specific ones out of all the movies we've watched, I'm like, I dig it.
I kind of alluded to this earlier. Do you think if you were an actor and you had to like go through multiple takes of kissing someone, like you had this, you're falling in love, right?
I mean,
like I feel like it doesn't matter who it is.
Well, you're talking about like for me specifically.
I guess I'm asking you.
Well, here's the thing, because I've seen like actually actors talk about it, and like to them it's just a job. So to them they're just like we show up, we do it, whatever, we move on. So
like, imagine what the sex scenes are like.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
there's always that one actor that's gonna be like, all right, I'm a method actor.
Well, I mean, think about it. Scream's my favorite movie franchise, guys, and Courtney Cox,
David
and
Arquette.
David Arquette. They got together and stuff through a movie
Famously,
like that.
yes.
So like it happens. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, for me, I'd probably fall under that category of like, yo, especially if it was something like in this movie with like Gavin and then the main girl.
Yeah.
Because like Gavin's basically me. Let's be real. I'm that nerdy idiot kid.
Yeah, you're not very good at the throwing darts.
I am not good at carnival games, but
You are a clown, though.
honk honk.
All right.
Man's got the whole circus here. No, for real though.
Got the whole squad laughing.
I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
What do I think? I'm right. I'm leaving love letters at their trailer door. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
You're gonna get kicked out of the movie.
last night was great, and it was just a night of filming. You know what I mean? Anyway, with that being said,
Sorry.
no, is that not right? Anyway,
Oh Jesus Christ.
that being said, I feel like I'm on one tonight.
Are you?
Yeah, well, I recharged by sleeping through the last 5 minutes. of the movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And no wonder you're as stupid as ever. Sorry. Haunt. Let's get into the news. So, as far as Haunt goes, wait, wrong movie.
Oh shit! you're right.
Hellfest.
Hellfest. Yeah. Did I open with Haunt as well? No, we did Hellfest.
Yeah, we did Hellfest.
We're fine.
We did
Okay.
Hellfest. So, Jenks, you owe me a water?
Hellfest.
So yeah, Hellfest. We watched it. Out of all the actors that are here, I didn't know any of them except the dude who plays Candyman, and also
Tony Todd.
Also the girl who I only knew her from Scream, played Audrey.
Yeah,
in a TV series.
I remember Audrey. I don't remember.
I don't
her name
actually remember her real name, but those are the only,
Promiscuous girl.
yeah, those are the only two that I knew of. The rest of the cast was new to me, and let's start off with cast. Cast themselves and characters. What do we think with the vibe of it?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I thought she's not, her name's not Audrey, but I don't know her name. The Audrey girl.
Yeah.
I thought she did her job. You know what I mean? I thought like she was like the crazy rowdy one that was like really into which that's I feel like she's typecast at this point to that role.
Yeah.
In a way. So like it made a lot of sense and it worked well for her. Gavin, I thought was another exceptional casting.
He stood out the most.
He had Riz, but he was also like not the Riz Lord. You know what I mean? So like it felt right, and I thought he had great chemistry with.
I thought that like
the main girl, and then
I thought like I think the best thing for me is that like kind of relates to me too anyway, but like I feel like that's a realistic relationship kind of bond thing, like when you're first starting out, like, oh, I like her, she likes me, so then they're like kind of nerdy and awkward
like
together,
backing around it and everything.
It's not
beating
like
around the bush.
It's not like your jock coming up and be like, hey girl, want to take these pants off?
How you doing? Yeah,
because I know it doesn't work because I tried it on him, so, and he never did.
Give me your best pickup line right now.
Best pickup
Riz me
line.
up. If you gotta pretend I'm the head cheerleader, do it.
I'm sorry, I don't have any.
You don't have one?
I don't have any off the top of my head, sorry.
Damn, girl.
Huge.
Are you a fly ball? Because I'd like to hit you up. It's like a baseball reference.
The train's just telling you
There's
to
a
shut
train,
the
yeah, apparently. That's going to be in it because I'm not going to remember to edit it out. So that's in
Dude,
there.
imagine.
That is in there.
Okay, so Hellfest, though, I think out of all the characters for me, the main girl kind of clutched up towards the end. I like the initiative of actually, like, using the, like, because towards the end you're walking through the, like, haunted place.
Yeah.
And if you step over, like, or step on through the green, like, laser, it activates the trap. I really like how she ends up using that to her advantage and comes out and, like, stabs the killer.
Yeah.
Like, that was some final girl energy right there.
Yeah, and
So.
like, and there was like some prelude to it earlier in the movie. She's like, "Oh yeah, if we go here, this door's gonna open up, and this and this and this."
I don't know if you caught it either, but like when Gavin was still alive, he was like, when they were walking through the one haunted house and like all the like things are like standing there, and then he's like, "Yo, look at their hands," you can tell if they're moving with their fingers. Mm-hmm. When it's the final girl here, and then I'm just gonna call her Audrey, and then the best friend. when they're going through that section with all the hands.
Yeah.
You can, if I don't know if you pay attention, but she's actually like looking at like all the fingers and like
Right.
seeing if they move. So I was like, that's a cool callback too.
Yeah,
I was
for real.
like, there's some good stuff in here. I feel like before we get like super in detail, I feel like this is just a movie. Like if you watched our Haunt review, and if you didn't, I'll tell you. But I feel like this is another movie where it's like you sit down and it's just like a popcorn horror
Yeah.
slasher flick. There's not anything crazy here, but it's an enjoyable time.
I agree.
There wasn't as many dumb decisions in this movie as
No.
that movie was, Haunt.
But quite frankly, it just felt like there weren't as many decisions to be made.
Mhm.
Okay, so like, what I mean is like, Haunt was like, it was very fast paced. Like there was shit happening every few seconds. This movie, while I think it's a shorter movie, I think it was slower.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
I definitely agree.
Like these scenes lasted longer. Like we were in one situation longer, and sometimes that worked out, and then sometimes I thought that was like a tension killer in a way.
Really?
Certain times, like there was times like I thought the bathroom scene was pretty good, and the stall.
Yeah.
Like I thought stuff like there were good scenes, but then there's like I don't know. There's just examples where like we've got plenty of scenes where the guy's walking through the crowd, looking around, and it's almost like it's trying to get you into his psyche a little bit. Where
I kind of dig that though.
you like that.
I like the idea that like this dude's just a normal dude, right? He's not anything crazy. He's not some secret ex-boyfriend, He's not freaking a peer pressured dude, or
John Cena.
He's not. He doesn't have a vendetta really. He's just a dude who likes to kill people, as far as we know. So like, there's not really anything that is connected to this group because in all tell and tell, he just kind of ran into him, and he's
Right.
like, and the only reason he probably even chased him is just for the fact that they saw the one girl die.
Right.
And she's just like, do it, bro. And then
Yeah.
she's like,
He's probably intrigued by that alone.
Yeah, he's like,
why'd you say to do it?
well, I mean,
Yeah.
he imagined. Well, she thought it was fake.
Right, of course, but
But-
how deranged is this guy?
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going around doing this.
I like the idea though that like we see him walk into the park or whatever it is first. Like you see him walking in, then he puts on the mask.
I thought it was cool once.
I mean, we didn't get that many scenes with it though. I like.
I don't know. Maybe it was just the fact that we
There
lingered
was-
on watching him a lot.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then they go into the fake hours, like, okay, I don't even know if this is really him.
There are a lot of scenes where you see like him walking towards a character like that.
Yeah.
Like I agree there. There was a lot of usage of that. But
And like it just,
as far as like the not really first person view, but like the behind the like head, kind of like him walking.
Yeah.
I like that view and I like that aspect. And it only happened a few times. My favorite ones being the beginning when you first see him, and then the end when he goes back to his house.
Right.
I like those two.
yeah,
the
that
biggest.
that was a cool shot. I like that.
But
So one thing that we have talked about recently with movies, what is your thoughts on like the color and like the lighting of this movie? Because it's obviously super dark, like 99% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
other than when they're in like some side area or something, and a lot of it's like rave lighting and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
How does that like? Does that translate well to you?
I mean, I like it, but only if we're in a pitch black. Like I don't think we could have watched this during the day. I'm gonna be real honest with you.
Yeah, no.
I do not think that this movie would have been well worth watching if you have lights turned on. Like
Good thing you were late.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Listen, flat tire, off you clown! And then I got
Alright.
like a haircut. Doesn't look like it, but I got one. So
Brother got a haircut.
I got the-
got a 2 hour haircut.
2 hour haircut, and it was literally just a trim. Here we are. No, I think no. When we talk about like the color scheme of things, if you haven't watched the podcast for it, let me tell you, Cobweb. Cobweb is a horror movie as well, and that movie uses the like color scheme and stuff amazingly.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite part
Yeah.
about that movie.
100% was just the aesthetic and colors and stuff that they used. This one, I feel like I didn't mind it, but we also watched it with all the lights turned off, besides like little spoopy Halloween lights.
Right.
But that was behind the TV, didn't matter. But if you were to watch this during the day, you would not see what's going on half the time. I'm being real honest.
No, you would
And
not.
I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Because like on one hand, I dig the like atmosphere and like I dig like them being and having the idea like watch it at night, watch it in the dark. Like,
Right. Well, you
I-
got to think at the very least a movie theater
Theater
you know what I
experience.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I understand that,
But
and I like and I appreciate and I like that the idea was to make with some of the strobe lighting to be, which it's not egregious. It's not like every scene's like jump, 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 jump.
Yeah.
But it's like it definitely, like, you're understanding that it's meant to be disorienting a bit when you're looking at a crowd of people and you're like, which one am I supposed to be watching?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it was fine. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, it may be personal preference, but I thought it wore thin, I guess.
Okay.
So, I mean, I liked it, but then it was like, to me, in some other movie, this would have been one scene, not the whole
thing.
movie. You know what I mean? Or at least the majority of it, I should say. So
I mean, I'm not gonna say
the
for
movie
me-
wasn't hard to follow. It's just when the scenes that really leaned into it happened, that's when it was just like, okay, it's like I feel like I've been doing this the whole time, even though I haven't been. So it's just the feel of the movie to me just feels the vibes are off, if that makes sense.
Let me with your biggest negative of this film. I'm actually curious.
Biggest
negative.
Biggest negative.
Let me see if I agree or I'm gonna fight back on this, baby.
Okay. I don't think the protagonist was interesting after her love interest was killed off, and I think that sounds terrible. But
I mean, she didn't really have anyone else to banter with.
she, other than her friend,
Which
but that
even
was
then,
that was at the end, and it wasn't that good. Pretty much, it turned into her being separated from the group from then on, and going through these
Things by
traumatic
herself.
experiences
Yeah.
by herself, and then her friends just being like, "It's okay, it's okay, what's wrong?" Yeah. So
I
didn't think the main character was that appealing after that moment.
gotta say, not having the banter with the boyfriend, which was obviously the best part about it.
Right.
There wasn't really much going on there because I mean, even with their best friend, they didn't really interact that much until the very end. So to me, I was like, whatever. I mean, I personally would have preferred her dying instead of the boyfriend there anyway.
I agree.
I think the ending would have, been a little better if it was for the fact that it was them two running through the final thing with him.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of the best friend.
No, I agree. I think that's right.
Because, like, I don't know. The best friend didn't really have anything to spice up with. They didn't really... I mean, none of the characters really had a story, let's be real. It was just the main character comes home and they're like, yo, you came? And she's like, why did you all think I wasn't?
Yeah, that was the most we got, even for her.
Yeah,
So.
that's all it really was. There was no, backstory.
Which I can relate. Anytime I show up to the function, everybody's like, I'm surprised you showed up.
That's fair.
Gotcha.
No, it's interesting. I think that's the biggest dent for me in this movie too, is the fact that we just don't really have any backstory or any we don't know anything about the characters. We just know, hey, they're into Halloween. Well, at least most of them are, and the main character just comes with. The final girl's like, whatever. And then
That's fair.
That's about it. I feel like you know more about the killer than you do the actual victims.
And you don't know much about the killer
Yeah,
either,
you never even see what he looks like, which I'm cool with not knowing what he looks like.
I don't mind that, but I feel like the gimmick of this movie wore off as quickly as the setting did. Where it's like, okay, so we've you put on the mask, okay, fine. I'm thinking, okay, it's just going to be like he's going to be changing his outfits to fit in with these different themes throughout, but he's just picking this one outfit this whole time.
Dude, that would have been a cool idea because
You just never know who he is.
Yeah, they go through different
or they think it's different people.
Yeah.
And then I guess it wouldn't really matter at that point. It'd be like, oh, why are all these people? Well, there's just one guy. But then
I think I would have loved the concept of him just putting on different masks and stuff and following people around.
Right, I thought that would have been cooler. And maybe even, I know we're getting into the weeds here a bit, but like, say he had like different personalities and like each one tried to kill them in different ways.
I mean, that would have been interesting. An interesting take.
Put me in, coach. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Um,
I'm willing for ideas, but I don't know what we got. I didn't mind. I do think though that
I just think when they started like they tease you at one point with like his mask gets knocked off and you don't see him, but you see him put the mask back on. It's just like, okay, are we like building up to a reveal here? So then at the end of the movie, which was really cool, I liked that ending.
yeah,
It didn't.
It would have been interesting too with that concept, just because of the fact that like when he does like go home at the end, you see him have like a bunch of different masks lined up, and then he like puts them in that one. So it would have been cool to like see a bunch of those get used.
Right.
But I don't know. I would have made it more tense too. Honestly, that would have worked a little bit better too, just for the tension, because we wouldn't know who's real or not, versus neither would they. They'd be like on edge the entire time. But I don't know. Cool concept, but nonetheless, this is what we got for the final product. And with this being said, I don't mind what we got as far as killer goes. The kills were all kind of different. Well, let's see. I like the one that Gavin gets, the boyfriend. I like that kill a
Oh,
lot.
the
Yeah,
bong.
like that kill a lot.
That was good. That was brutal.
The one guy who gets stabbed in the eye, that was brutal too.
That was brutal, but that was.
But it was kind of like a boring kill.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything crazy.
And it was very lackluster. It was just like, it's got all this build up for the eye that it was.
I wish so here's my thing is like there was a lot more like stabby kills here, and I wish we would have got more pizzazz kills,
Like crazy.
because Audrey, I'm still gonna call her that, when she's getting like the
Oof.
yeah, that is brutal.
Oof.
But the fact that she gets out of that, I hate how I like the concept of her getting away and then him being like, oh, well, screw it, I'm just gonna go out in public and just kill you. I don't care.
Right.
I like that idea, but I don't like the fact that the other dude also died that way. I could have went with him dying. Yeah, because like he's going ham
Both
on
at once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could have done with something different with the guy, but like her dying in public and everything, I like that. I like that idea, and that's when like cops start coming in. Like you had to have a reason as to why the cops would show up too.
Right.
So like, cool with that idea, liked it, but I wish that him being there to die too was kind of like okay.
Yeah, it's like we didn't know what to do with this guy. Quite frankly, he didn't do anything through the whole movie.
Yeah, it was just
So, why have him if you're not going to use him in some other scene, and then his kill is just part of a double kill?
yeah.
That's a, quite frankly, wasted budget.
The gore wasn't bad though. The gore was actually kind of spot on.
No, but I mean, quite frankly, we didn't see that much.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's good. The quick flash for the pumpkin head, great.
Oh yeah, that was
That
so
was
good.
I love that. That was good. But I don't know. With that being said,
What do you
have
think? Yeah, I was gonna ask, like the mask itself, the one that was used. What do we think?
I like it.
Because as average Happy Death Day enjoyers, this fool over here didn't like the baby mask.
I did not like the
So-
baby mask. I thought it was immature.
Okay. Well, I figured I'd ask with this mask too, since it's not like a classic like Ghostface, Jason, Michael.
I like it.
What do you think? You like it?
Oh, I like it.
Okay.
I like it's got that run, but it's like manufactured in such a way it's meant to be run down because everybody's wearing them, like all the crew or whatever. So like I like that, and I like that it's meant to be like that, but then it's still used for something like sinister anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. What about you?
I mean, I dig it a lot too. It doesn't really take that much to impress me, to be honest. When it comes to like,
I wish you couldn't
design.
see the eyes though.
When it comes to costume design, I don't really mind it. Mind like anything, to be honest. But as far as like this one goes, the mask itself, it looked really nice, especially with the hoodie up. I mean, hoodie down, it probably would have looked wacky.
Right.
But hoodie up looked pretty sweet. I like the rundownness of it. I like that. I always just love like the side shots of the face, and you like see like kind
just
of like
part of it hanging out.
yeah, like that stuff was really cool in shots. And I mean, honestly, like if I'm getting chased by something, that's what it is. That's terrifying.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
But
Well, do you have any like major positives or like anything major you want to really like spend time on before we hop into a final verdict? Because I mean, not a crazy long movie.
Yeah,
we'll take up not half the runtime hopefully. So
I mean, realistically, yeah, I was gonna say this movie's pretty short. The plot's pretty simplistic. There's not much there other than like, hey, let's go to this Hellfest thing and have fun.
yeah,
This dude's like, hey, I like killing people. It's a pretty good cover up, and then he ends up not getting caught, and he ends up not dying.
I like that, and I
I
like the reasoning that it like. I don't want to say sequel baiting, but like I like that it's just he got away.
Yeah, he got away.
And not like, oh my god, he's been resurrected.
Yeah, you don't see that.
He's
very
not
often.
some evil entity. He's just
a dude.
he's just smarter.
Well, even then, like
He's better. He is better.
when you watch a horror movie, the bad guys either always die or like if it gets a sequel, they always are just back out of nowhere.
Right.
Even if they start out like Michael or something, where it's like they're a normal dude in the original, the next movie they're just supernatural apparently.
Fuck Babysitter too.
Yeah, like what? Just, I don't know. There's a lot of things in horror movies that happen like that, and this one is like, oh, a twist where the dude doesn't die or doesn't get caught or something.
He's just that.
And I
He
loved,
just is him.
I just love the original, like the time I watched it too, because like when he goes back to the house, you're like, oh, is this man about to stab this girl on the couch? And she's like, Dad. I love the ending of this movie actually quite a bit. So the killer himself, I like the idea a lot. I love it. Love the mask. Love everything about it. The problem for me is that just the characters, none of them really spoke out as like a fan favorite other than the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like I said, the final girl, whatever her name is, can't even remember. Is it Brooke? Is it something? Sure is something. But
I'm gonna back you up on that. I think that sounds right.
I think it is, but nonetheless, the final
I'm
girl,
just not good with names.
I mean,
like this. Like I
yeah.
need to like know you for 3 years before I even save your contact info in my phone. I'm just saying that's legitimately how I learn people's phone numbers.
I mean, that's fair.
I don't know your phone number.
I don't know yours either, so
That's all right.
I don't really remember phone numbers. But as far as the movie goes so far, it's pretty good, but the characters are definitely the biggest flaw for me.
Right.
And like I said, the main girl, I like the banter between her and Gavin a lot. Unfortunately, it gets cut super short.
Yeah, I think the charm of the movie falls out halfway through.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
That's the only interesting part of our main cast.
That's the biggest casualty of this movie.
Yeah, like if you would have let's be real. Originally, the best friend was gonna look like she'd get picked off anyway because she went
Right.
after him.
Right.
I would have preferred her die, and then if you wanted to kill Gavin, that's fine. But I think you should have waited till the end.
Yeah, like I think he should have been in front of the girl.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to do maximum emotion.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, got the ball rolling though with a cool kill at least.
Yeah.
But I think it hurt it.
Hit the nail right on the head.
Ding. Realistically, though, I think that did hurt it a lot, and yeah, the characters, all of them, kind of like I like Audrey's actor a lot. I'm gonna keep calling her Audrey, man, but her actor or whatever actor for Audrey, fantastic. In this movie, though, she did amazing, but like her character was just like a side character.
Right.
They didn't use her for much other than like, haha, I love Halloween, brother. And that's what she was used for. Woo, Halloween, baby. And then she dies.
Look
Cool.
at you.
The boyfriends, dude, couldn't tell you a single thing other
Yeah.
than
No.
Gavin. The other
No.
two, cool.
Yeah. I Spike guy and stab.
Stabbing.
Double double homicide.
So yeah, characters definitely hurt it the most for me. The aesthetic of the Halloween vibe never disappoints. I liked it a lot. I know you said you didn't really like. You thought I got a little old a little bit towards the end. For me, I thought the aesthetic of it was always great. The different changing of different places, whether it be like the coaster ride where it breaks down and you have that whole coaster vibe, red lights, everything, to the point where they're at the end and they're in that one room with the mask. All the white mask everywhere, and then he was getting ready to leave. The killer was, and this is the coolest thing ever that I didn't even notice the original time that I watched it that I remember. But he's getting ready to leave the room. He's like, "All right, they're not in here then." And then as soon as he walks through the green like laser, then or whatever, go through the door. He opens it. He opens the door, and then when he opens the door, it says, "Yo," the announcer like starts and says, "Oh, you made it too. You found whatever." And then,
they never got through.
I mean, it just told him. He's like, "Oh, well, then they're getting in here then." Yeah. So like that was cool. I like that idea a lot, and that was probably my favorite part of the movie is the aesthetic of just the Halloween vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think with all that in mind, I definitely think I like Haunt more. I don't remember what I rated Haunt though. That's the
I don't either, but let it guide you.
Yeah,
Let the numbers guide you.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna try and put it here because this is kind of where I was thinking anyway. As much as I think this is a cool slasher flick to chill and watch, I think the kills could have been a little bit more spicy, and I think a little bit more like you go to a horror movie, you're not really there for like a big ham-fisted, huge emotional story, right? No one goes to watch a horror movie to like go in deep with story and
But
plot.
the best ones have them.
But yeah, of course. But even just like a simplistic one that like goes a little deep, like Haunt did with the backstory of abusive fathers and abusive boyfriends and
a need for a callback.
Yeah, and using that to power herself and get through this. As for this one, it's like, okay, these characters, I don't know anything about them, and when they're getting picked off, I don't really care about them, other than, again, we like the banter between the boy and girl here, which made us kind of sad that the boyfriend died, because, you want to root for the nerdy, adorable peeps here.
I know.
But
I thought the performance was so great.
Acting was great there. And after that, no one cared about the rest of the characters.
No, I definitely didn't.
No, that's the biggest part about this movie. And with that in mind, I'm going to slap it with a 6.
A 6.
A 6. I'm gonna stand there because I really like the aesthetic. Even though the first time I really loved this movie, this time I don't like it as much as I remember, but I still like it. I enjoy it, and I would tell people to give it a shot.
Yeah, you know, that's something I'm noticing is that we're kind of falling into the pocket that, you know, and part of this is me filling in my own, but like to me, you know, kind of 4 on my scale is like, okay, I've watched it. I don't necessarily know that it's something I would ever even consider watching again, and I don't know that I necessarily recommend it, but I've watched it and I'm glad I did for one time. And then, you know, 6 is like, okay, I'm glad I've watched it once. I recommend it. You know, turn your brain off. Then you get into the 8s, and that's like, hey, you should really watch this. And also movies we'd like seeing again.
Well,
10s are movies I could watch every day.
So here's the thing, like with rating and stuff, we've done so many of these that like now I don't like
we're maturing our.
I don't like to reference old movies.
No.
Like as far as my scores go.
Yeah.
But I think of like some of the things that like I would go back and rate higher maybe, or maybe just a smidge higher. But like there's things like Happy Death Day I always use for an example. I love that movie. One of my favorite movies. Not like my favorite movie, but one of my favorite horror movies.
Yeah.
And I rated that like an 8 or an 8.5.
Yeah.
And it's like I like this Hellfest movie a lot actually. It's really fun. But like, I'm not gonna put it anywhere near Happy Death Day for me. So like, that's.
So are you saying that Happy Death Day should have been?
I'm like reevaluating. I might give it a 9. I'm not giving it a 10.
Yeah.
Because the only movie I've ever rated a 10 is the original Scream, and that's just because it's my favorite movie.
I have yet to do so.
You'll do it with Aliens. So.
It's coming up, baby.
But
it's coming up.
Yeah, I would sway though that like this movie I could see a 6.5 as well. I mean, even a 7 if you want to go full.
No,
no, I know you're not. I know you're
a
not.
6.
I know you're not.
That's a strong 6 for me as well.
The only reason I'm in between that 6, 6.5, 7 range. I think this movie is a fun watch. I think watching it again, I would have no problem.
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch it again.
I mean, it was a fun flick, and I'd tell you to watch it. The only problem I have is that like we just watched Haunt, and I like Haunt a little bit more. And with that in mind, I would definitely.
It keeps you in the mind.
Yeah, it keeps me in the mind that like I like this
know what you
movie,
mean.
but now I'm thinking back and I'm like, well, I like Haunt a little bit more. Did I rate Haunt too low, or am I gonna rate this one too high? So like rating is kind of weird sometimes, but at the end of the day, I think a 6 is pretty well deserved.
Yep. This is pretty rare that we're in complete agreement, but I pretty much agree with everything you've said. Once again, except for the setting, I think we kind of differ a little bit there. And then characters, I agree. I think pacing was the other thing that I kind of picked out that was I felt was a little wonky. There were scenes that were really tension-filled. There were scenes that like drug out in between the action that eliminated tension in certain aspects. And then just all around, I think this movie kind of betrays itself one step after the other, whether it be killing off all of the chemistry, well, quite frankly, there still were, I know we said there weren't as many, but there still are dumb decisions in this movie.
No, there are.
And
just not as many.
You know, and the fact that it doesn't feel like it commits fully to gore in its full.
Yeah, I think, like, that's another thing with Haunt too, right? So, I'm going to keep referencing this movie because...
Damn, why don't you get off Haunt's dick?
Well, here's the thing. Like, these movies are kind of similar in a lot of ways.
Oh, they are.
And
they're very similar.
We just watched Haunt too, so, like, this is why it's on my mind. And, like, Haunt may have had a pretty simplistic story as well, but Haunt went in with that gore.
Yes.
That gore went crazy. And I'm not saying this movie...
Also, it did have a deeper story.
Yeah, it did.
To be fair.
But on top of that, though, it had the crazy gore. Yeah. I think this movie, not having that at all, it should have focused heavily on gore. And I'm not saying the gore in this movie is bad.
If not gore, I think the set pieces could have been... better executed.
I think the gore is the big thing for me, because just the stabs, like, were cool. Like, you know how many stabs were in this movie? Because, like, in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Before we even meet the cast, the girl there, stab.
Yeah.
Gets dragged, whatever.
The opening was also very jarring. I remember that, too.
And after that, the girl with the zebra stripe shirt in there, or she's like, do it, stab.
Yep.
And then, again, the guy with the eyeball, it was cool with the eye, and it was gross, but it was still another stab.
Yep.
And then outside, double stab. It's like, it's like, I don't know. I'm cool with stabs, too. Don't get me wrong. I watch Scream, dude. Like, that's movies all about stabbing. But it's just like...
stab. It's a movie all about screaming.
And these type of movies, especially since this one isn't like a whodunit, there's not like that extra flavor there.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm looking for the cool gore, the cool way to kill things.
You can only be scared by seeing a guy's silhouette where he's just standing near you
so many
times.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah.
I mean, I think that's a pretty good thing to end on with that statement right there. I also think that though we did talk a lot of negatives of this movie and compared it to that Haunt film that you should watch for sure too.
Yeah.
I do think I would have loved to have seen a sequel in this movie to see if we could have.
Yeah, I want to see a different mask.
Yeah, different mask. I would have loved to have seen like the killer come back in a different, maybe just a different like Halloween themed thing. It doesn't even have to be the Hellfest thing. I mean, they probably would because it'd be the sequel, but nonetheless, I would love to see like new set pieces, and then maybe get a little more wacky, get a little more silly,
some carnival,
a little bit more silly with the kills and the eliminations. Get a little wacky with it. Don't be afraid. Get in there and get a bonky hammer like you did.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
Okay, cool. You did that once. Well, guess what? Get like, there's balloons that you have to pop. Cool. Use the helium from them and just be like, blow up a head. Get in there. Get in there.
Thank you for watching Popcorn. I almost guarantee you that scream in there is probably going to ruin some ears.
I hope so.
Gotcha. Anyway.
6-6. Watch it.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.